Hello, and welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby, where we will continue good stories for great holidays. The Spring Beauty, an Ojibwe legend, by Henry R. Schoolcraft, adapted. An old man was sitting in his lodge by the side of a frozen stream. It was the end of winter. The air was not so cold, and his fire was nearly out. He was old and alone. His locks were white with age, and he trembled in every joint. Day after day passed, and he heard nothing but the sound of the storm sweeping before it the new fallen snow. One day, while his fire was dying, a handsome young man approached and entered the lodge. His cheeks were red, his eyes sparkled. He walked with a quick, light step. His forehead was bound with a wreath of sweet grass, and he carried a bunch of fragrant flowers in his hand. "Ah, my son," said the old man, "I am happy to see you. Come in, tell me your adventures, and what strange lands you have seen. I will tell you of my wonderful deeds and what I can perform. You shall do the same, and we will amuse each other." The old man then drew from a bag a curiously wrought pipe. He filled it with mild tobacco and handed it to his guest. They each smoked from the pipe and then began their stories. "I am Pebwan, the spirit of winter," said the old man. "I blow my breath and the stream stands still. The water becomes stiff and hard as clear stone." "I am Sigwan, the spirit of spring," answered the youth. "I breathe and flowers spring up in the meadows and woods." "I shake my locks," said the old man, "and snow covers the land. The leaves fall from the trees, and my breath blows them away. The birds fly to a distant land, and the animals hide themselves from the cold." "I shake my ringlets," said the young man, "and warm showers of soft rain fall upon the earth. The flowers lift their heads from the ground, the grass grows thick and green. My voice recalls the birds, and they come flying joyfully from the southland. The warmth of my breath unbinds the streams, and they sing the song of summer. Music fills the groves wherever I walk, and all nature rejoices." And while they were talking, thus a wonderful change took place. The sun began to rise. A gentle warmth stole over the place. Pebwan, the spirit of winter, became silent. His head drooped, and the snow outside the lodge melted away. Sigwan, the spirit of spring, grew more radiant and rose joyfully to his feet. The robin and the bluebird began to sing on the top of the lodge. The stream began to murmur at the door, and the fragrance of opening flowers came softly on the breeze. The lodge faded away, and Pebwan sank down and dissolved into tiny streams of water that vanished under the brown leaves of the forest. Thus, the spirit of winter departed, and, where he had melted away, there the Indian children gathered the first blossoms, fragrant and delicately pink, the modest spring beauty. The Fairy Tulips, English Folktale. Once upon a time, there was a good old woman who lived in a little house. She had in her garden a bed of beautiful striped tulips. One night she was wakened by the sounds of sweet singing and of babies laughing. She looked out at the window. The sounds seemed to come from the tulip bed, but she could see nothing. The next morning, she walked among her flowers, but there were no signs of anyone having been there the night before. On the following night, she was again wakened by sweet singing and babies laughing. She rose and stole softly through the garden. The moon was shining brightly on the tulip bed, and the flowers were swaying to and fro. The old woman looked closely, and she saw, standing by each tulip, a little fairy mother who was crooning and rocking the flower like a cradle, while in each tulip cup lay a little fairy baby laughing and playing. The good old woman stole quietly back to her house, and from that time on, she never picked a tulip, nor did she allow her neighbors to touch the flowers. The tulips grew daily brighter in color and larger in size, and they gave out a delicious perfume like that of roses. They began to bloom all the year round, and every night the little fairy mothers caressed their babies and rocked them to sleep in the flower cups. The day came when the good old woman died, and the tulip bed was torn up by folks who did not know about the fairies, and parsley was planted there instead of the flowers. But the parsley withered, and so did all the other plants in the garden, and from that time nothing would grow there. But the good old woman's grave grew beautiful, for the fairies sang above it and kept it green, while on the grave and all around it there sprang up tulips, daffodils, and violets, and other lovely flowers of spring. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Bedtime Stories with Vice Vice Baby. I hope you'll have a good night and sweet dreams.